Good evening. If you will indulge me, I want to do a moment of the public story and a moment of the private story of Steven Sotloff. You will remember the Steven story made so public by his execution. He was a freelancer for Time, the Christian Science Monitor, Foreign Affairs, CNN. He first made his name covering the Arab Spring in Egypt and Libya. His special focus was on the victims of war, the oppressed and the dispossessed and the orphaned. He became known as the voice of the voiceless. It was deep empathy that took him to what proved to be, for journalists, the most dangerous front in the world, the Syria battle lines. So he was captured by ISIS in August of 2013. He was executed in September of 2014. However deep the tragedy is, Steven didn't die in vain. A week after Steven's execution, the president spoke on national television and said, "We will degrade and destroy ISIS." It's a work that's underway in Mosul and Raqqa right now. Later, the Sotloffs worked with the White House in forming the new American hostage policy. It's a presidential directive, which has changed the whole of the way the United States government approaches hostage affairs. The first complete success of this new policy was last week when an American was released by the Houthis in Yemen, a direct result of the work that the Sotloffs have done. Steven in private, what you can't know from the public reputation is the animating kindness that was at the center of this boy, and that he could write like the wind. Parts of Steven's letters, let me back up. There were 2 letters that were smuggled out of prison, out of ISIS custody, within a couple of months of 3 months of Steven's execution. Parts of it have been made public. There's one famous quote he has: "Everyone has 2 lives. The second one begins when you realize you have only one." Steven goes on to say that if given that second life, he would choose to live it side by side with his family. What's not made public is the close of that letter. I asked the Sotloffs this last weekend, would you mind if I read the close? So here's how he closed off his penultimate letter to his family. "I wish I knew how to conclude this letter properly, but I don't. So I'll write what is evident. I love you, miss you, pray for you, and hope to see you soon. If God wills it, I will be home soon and get the restart I need, and we'll be together again. If not, perhaps He will be merciful enough to reunite us in heaven. I never meant to cause you pain. I am sorry. I love you." In vain, with a number of my colleagues at The Atlantic, we sought to find Steven. I actually never knew him. Still, what we can know of him is that this fine, brave, decent young man, to know him was to love him.